Shantinamani. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskachari Desatarani. Hare Krishna, we will continue today with discussing chapter 12 and also 13. Chapter 12, Moini Mukti Incarnation, bewildered Lord Shiva. And we have heard a part of the prayers of Lord Shiva to the Supreme Lord, that in text 7, he emphasized the difference between the Supreme Lord and the living entities. And in text 8 is emphasizing oneness. That, and we were reading the purport, and we will continue more or less 2/3 within the purport. It's a long purport. In the last part, it is said, a flower accepted for one's sense gratification is material, but when the same flower, I admit a few students, but when the same flower that is offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead by a devotee, it is spiritual. Food taken and cooked for oneself is material, but food cooked for the Supreme Lord is spiritual prasad. This is a question of realization. Actually, everything is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore everything is spiritual. But those who are not advanced in proper knowledge make distinctions between, because of the interactions of the three modes of material nature. In this regard, Srila Jiva Goswami says that although the sun is the only light, the sunshine, which is exhibited in 7 colors, and darkness, which is the absence of sunshine, are not different from the sun. For without the existence of the sun, such differentiations cannot exist. Interesting, darkness is not different from the sun. That it's all one. Whether it's dark or light, it's all the sun. That so the Puranas therefore say Ekadesha Stita Jachner Yotsna Vistarini Yata Parasya Brahmana Saktis Tatedam Akilam Jagat. Just as the illumination of fire, which is situated in one place, is spread all over, the energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Parabrahman, are spread all over this universe. It's from the Vishnu Purana. Materially, we can directly perceive the sunshine spreading itself according to the different names and activities. Ultimately, the sun is one. Similarly, Sarva Kalvam Idam Brahma, everything is an expansion of the Supreme Brahman. Therefore, the Supreme Lord is everything and is without differentiation. There is no existence difference from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, Bhujan, he comments on this verse and says, yoga means to connect everything with God. This understanding, Srila Prabhupada said, is a gift of Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Maharaj, to use everything in the Lord's service. And Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Maharaj said, when he sent his first disciples overseas, he said, even if you have to cook meat for them, to make them devotees, cook meat. That was quite a very broad outlook on preaching. that whatever we do is for Krishna, but no cheating. Don't drink water underwater on a fast day. That or don't abuse the principles of Yukta Vairagya. I will now tell a story of Prabhupada dealing with Mayavadis. So one time that Srila Prabhupada defeated a Mayavadi philosopher. It was a professor at the university. And he complained to Srila Prabhupada that we are all just chanting and dancing as sentimentalists. Very simple and similar to the criticism of Prakasananda Sarasvati. He was from California Tech University. He quoted all these verses that the highest is the formless Brahman. And while he was quoting, Srila Prabhupada was looking at the Radha Krishna deities chanting Hare Krishna during the whole time. And he was saying, are you finished? And finally, when he was finished, then Srila Prabhupada started quoting from the Puranas, he was quoting from the Vedas, he was quoting from Vedanta, he was quoting from the Upanishads, one quote after another, like hammering a nail into the ground. And then the professor, he was like melting into the ground. This was told by Badri Narayan Swami. And at the end, Srila Prabhupada said, do you have any further questions? He asked the professor. And the professor replied, Swamiji, can we have kirtan? Interesting. He was criticizing for kirtan, and finally he got the point. So Srila Prabhupada told everything in a language he could understand. He convinced him that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, I have a quote here about Asintya Beda Beda Tattva. There are two energies coming from fire. You have heard that before, that one is heat, one is light. We can compare the light to the spiritual energy and the heat to the material energy. So Srila Prabhupada gave a lecture in Mayapur 1976 on Srimad Bhagavatam 7.9.20, the pastime of Prahlad Maharaj. In the spiritual light, you can see Krishna directly. You can speak with him. You can talk with him. In the material world, there is heat. You can't see it, but you can feel it. You can feel his presence by the heat. So there are two different energies of the Lord, heat and light. A commentary on this verse by Siddhar Swami. Siddhar Swami asked a question. How is it possible for one person to be different and non-different? So to remove this doubt, the following example is given. Siddhar Swami says, you have the cause and effect, dual and non-dual, supreme cause also, and all the creations are dual forms. That like you have golden earrings, and it comes from gold, but gold in totality is a non-dual oneness. As the gold is one, there is no differentiation. Then how the perfection of difference arise? It comes from ignorance. Where does ignorance come from? Although the living entities, they free from material designations, they come, excuse me, although the living entities, that they are in touch with material modes of nature, and from this different differentiation arises. That. Now we will go to text 9. A few more prayers by Brahma, by Lord Shiva, I mean. Those who are known as the impersonal Vedantists regard you as the impersonal Brahman. Others, known as the Mimamsaka philosophers, regard you as religion. The Sankhya philosophers regard you as the transcendental person who is beyond Prakriti and Purus, and who is the controller of even the demigods. The followers of the codes of devotional service, known as the Pancharajas, regard you as being endowed with 9 different potencies. And the Patanjali philosophers, the followers of Patanjali Muni, regard you as the supreme independent personality of Godhead, who has no equal or superior. Trying to get some students in. Okay, done. So we have here different philosophies that we have already heard from the Vaishashika philosophers about the atoms. Now we will hear the impersonalists, the Vedantists, the Mimamsakas, how they see the Supreme Lord. So we have 4 of the 6 darshans here. The impersonalists, the Vedantists, they see you as the impersonal Brahman. And that's also called Uttaramimamsa. Now the Vaishashikas, they see the universe as a bunch of atoms. And then you have the Nyaya from Gautam, the neti logic. I'm not this, I'm not that. And finally, what's left is spirit. The karma mimamsas, they think the goal of life is to create good karma. That's all. Then we have the Sankhya Kapila, and this sounds like actually the real Sankhya philosophers, because the atheists, they don't see the person. They just see the source is Pradhan. They see that Prakriti Purush came from Pradhan. But where does Pradhan come from? No explanation. They are in the dark. But the real Sankhya philosophers, like Kapila Dev, they see the transcendental person as the cause of Prakriti and Purush. So the Pancharatmas, they explain 9 different potencies. Then there's the Patanjali, which look like the real yogis who see the Lord as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Otherwise, there are many Patanjalists who are impersonalists. So now we read 10. Yes, some devotees are waiting outside, not now anymore. Srinivas Gopal should be okay. I'm trying my best to do 2 things at a time, giving the lecture and trying to get people in. So please be on time, then there is no problem with that. So text 10. Oh my Lord, I am considered to be the best of the demigods, and Lord Brahma and the great rishis, headed by Marichi, are born of the mode of goodness. Nonetheless, we are bewildered by your illusory energy and cannot understand what this creation is, aside from us, what is to be said of others, like the demons and human beings who are in the base modes of material nature and tamagun. How will they know you? You remember this question? this question is on the screen now. Just I ask you to keep attentive to that. Why is it impossible for those in the base modes to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead? On the other hand, how is it possible in Kali Yuga? That's the question that, so I presented that last time, and I will put it for you again in the chat. So I just let Dharmaraj in, but he should be able to join now. I say again, please be on time, then we don't have that problem. So I'm posting again that point in the chat, that this question, we may hear the answer now. That so even Lord Shiva cannot know the Supreme Lord. So what is the hope for us? What is the answer? What is the hope? We heard before about the capacities, right? That becoming a capacity, is that the hope? Surrender, as mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, 1866. Yeah. But our only hope is Pancharatra Vidhi, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandam, Dasyam, Atman, Nivedanam. Because in Kali Yuga, there are no Brahmins. Everyone is Sudra. Kala Sudra Sambhava. That's quite a statement. Everyone. So what is the hope? Therefore, we cannot study the Vedas. Therefore, we cannot take to the Pancharatrika and the Smriti, the Srimad Bhagavatam. We go to the Puranas, yes, we have the Mahabharata, and we have the Bhagavad Gita inside. So I will read a part of the purport. I have 5 lines down. It says, yeah. There are so many philosophers trying to understand the absolute truth, but since they are situated in the base qualities of material nature and are addicted to so many bad habits like drinking, meat eating, illicit sex and gambling, how can they perceive the Supreme Personality of Godhead? So, yes, that then further, near to the end of the purport, So in this age of Kali, so many gurus have sprung up, because they do not refer to the Shruti, Smriti, Puranadi, Pancharatrika Vidhi. They are creating disturbances in the world in regard to understanding the absolute truth. However, those who follow Pancharatrika Vidhi under the guidance of a proper spiritual master can understand the absolute truth. It is said, Pancharatrasya Krishnasya Vakta tu Bhagavan Svam. The Pancharatma system is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just like Bhagavad Gita. Vasudeva Sharana Vidur Anyasheva. The truth can be understood only by one who is taking shelter of the lotus feet of Vasudev. So there are many verses that explain that just by hearing we can understand. Bhagavad Gita 7.1, Maya Sektamanaparta Yugam Yugam Madashosha. And then 13.26 Bhagavad Gita says that just by hearing from others so 10, 14, 13 says that there's this first Jnane Prayasam and so on, says that you just say that this is Lord Chaitanya speaking to the Kurma Brahman that in South India. And Lord Chaitanya stayed 4 months with him during the Chaturmasya, and then he was going to leave, and Kurma Brahman said, please let me go with you. But Lord Chaitanya said, no, you stay with your family. And he quoted this verse, 10, 14, 13 of the Bhagavatam. You just stay in your position and you hear the Bhagavatam. And then you can conquer Ajita, the one who is unconquerable. From the signs of self-realization. This was a question to Srila Prabhupada. Have you ever had persons come to you who had previously been involved with a fake guru? Were their spiritual life spoiled by these fake gurus? Srila Prabhupada said, no. They were seeking something genuinely. So spiritual, they were seeking something genuinely, they were seeking something spiritual. And that is their qualification. God is in everyone's heart. As soon as one genuinely seeks him, then the Lord helps him to find a genuine guru. So thanks to Prabhupada, we found a genuine guru. Now we will read verses. I will read 3 verses further. Okay. So first, verse 11. My Lord, you are the supreme knowledge personified. You know everything about this creation and its beginning, maintenance, and annihilation. And you know all endeavors made by the living entities, by which they are either implicated in the material world or liberated from it. As air enters the vast sky and also enters the bodies of all moving and non-moving entities, you are present everywhere, and therefore you are the knower of all. That's Srila Prabhupada cites in the purport 2 verses of the Brahma Samhita, which are explaining, which are illuminating Asintya Abheda Veda Tattva. And we have text 12. My Lord, I have seen all kinds of incarnations you have exhibited by your transcendental qualities, and now that you have appeared as a beautiful young woman, I wish to see that form of your lordship. So here he's asking the question, what he desires. 13. My Lord, we have come here desiring to see that form of your lordship, which you showed to the demons to captivate them completely, and in this way enable the demigods to drink nectar. I am very eager to see that form. One can say this is a very strange question after quoting all these philosophical verses. Then he's asking this. That's interesting. That And we will see, he will become bewildered. He will forget all the philosophy, all what he has said. I have a story here from Chaitanya Bhagavat, but it's a little long and we have to move on. If we have time at the end, we can read that it's a story of how Vishnu was teaching, is teaching the demigods that he is supreme. That if you want to read it, you find it in Chaitanya Bhagavat, chapter 13, that verses 1, 2, and so on. Adikanda, chapter 13. That's so, chapter verse 14. Sukadev Goswami said, when Lord Vishnu was thus requested by Lord Shiva, who carries a trident in his hand, he smiled with gravity. He replied to Lord Shiva as follows. That purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, is also Yogeshwar. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna. Mystic yogis want to acquire some power by practicing the yoga system. But Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is known as the Supreme Lord of all mystic power. Lord Shiva wanted to see the Moini Mukti, which was captivating the entire world, and Lord Shiva was gravely thinking how to captivate Lord Shiva also. Therefore, the word Bhavagambiram is used here. The illusory material energy is represented by Durga Devi, who is the wife of Girisha, or Lord Shiva. Durga Devi could not captivate Lord Shiva's mind, but now that Lord Shiva wanted to see the Lord Vishnu's feminine form, Lord Vishnu, by his mystic power, would assume a form that would captivate him, even Lord Shiva. Therefore, Lord Shiva was grave and at the same time was smiling. So these were the prayers of Lord Shiva to the Lord. Although the Lord is Parameshwar, he does not change. The pure devotees, they understand the ultimate goal because they perform devotional service. Thus, Lord Shiva explained Asindhya Veda Veda Tattva. Then he explained about different philosophers, how they see the Lord as impersonal Brahman, as a transcendental person, as having 9 different potencies. The demigods are bewildered about your position. You are very difficult to understand for us. Then he had a very interesting request. He wanted to see the Lord in the form of a woman. When Lord Shiva got that request, he was smiling. He was smiling with gravity. That's interesting, with gravity. Text 15. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, when the demons took away the jar of nectar, that I assumed the form of a beautiful woman to bewilder them by directly cheating them, and thus to act in the interest of the demigods. It's a short purport, I will read that. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead assumed the form of a beautiful woman, Moini Mukti, the demons were certainly captivated, but the demigods were not. In other words, those who attain a demoniac mentality are bewildered by the beauty of a woman, but those who are advanced in Krishna consciousness, or even those on the platform of goodness, they are not bewildered. The Supreme Personality of Godhead knew that Because Lord Shiva is not an ordinary person, he cannot be bewildered even by the most beautiful woman. Cupid himself tried to invoke Lord Shiva's lusty desires in the presence of Parvati, but Lord Shiva was never agitated. Rather, the blazing fire from Lord Shiva's eyes turned Cupid to ashes. Therefore, Lord Vishnu had to think twice about what kind of beautiful form would bewilder even Lord Shiva. Consequently, he was smiling gravely. As stated in the previous verse, Prahasya Bhava Gambiram. A beautiful woman generally cannot induce Lord Shiva to be lusty, but Lord Shiva was considering whether there was any form of a woman who could enchant him. So, in the purport of Canto 3, chapter 31, verse 36, Srila Prabhupada explains that Lord Brahma was captivated by his daughter, and Lord Shiva was captivated by Mohini. These are specific instances instructing us that even great demigods are captivated by the beauty of a woman. It is to instruct us to be careful about association and practice, controlling the senses by performing Bhakti Yoga. Krishna is Madan Mohan because he can subdue the god Cupid. And if one engages in his service, then one can curb the dictations of Mohan. When you meditate on the Lord's universal form, then you will be protected by meditating on one aspect of the Lord's face. It will protect one from falling down. It is meditation on the eyebrows of the Lord. The Lord's eyebrows are so amazing. Then you can become free from lust. So that was a very practical advice to become free from lust from the third canto by Prabhupada. Yeah. Just meditate on the eyebrows of the Lord. That text 16. O best of the demigods, I shall now show you my form that is very much appreciated by those who are lusty. Since you want to see that form, I shall reveal it in your presence. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada reveals how a bewildered person thinks. So when Bhujan spoke on this verse, he made a nice comment and how one can remain unagitated. How to remain unagitated when there is a cause for disturbance. What's the way? So, yes, what's the way? Maybe you can write in the chat what you can do, but or remain unagitated when there's a cause for disturbance. What would you do? Just one line. Of course, we know there was a falling down of Ajamil. He was doing his best to control himself, but he couldn't. It was like all his Ajamil's knowledge collapsed. So, yes, Bhakti Narasimha Maharaj said, yes, those who continuously hear and chant, repeat your transcendental activities will take pleasure. Others doing so certainly see your lotus feet, which can alone stop the repetition of birth and death. So chant Hare Krishna. Yes, that helps. That helps. That engage in devotional service. That's very general. If the mind is focused on Krishna, yes, it will help. So many points to make here. Bhujan said, a billionaire is not attracted by the idea of getting $100. If you have Krishna, you have a relationship with Krishna, then you won't be bewildered. that's the main principle. That's around Krishna, that's right. By not identifying with the cause of agitation, we can resist agitation and remembering our position as a servant of Krishna. But not easy. Good advice, but who can do it? But Maharaj writes, all things must pass. That is a philosophical approach. Yes, if you are bewildered, then it will pass. I'm reading a few, thank you for your comments. I'm reading a few points Pujan made. He said, take responsibility. Due to our past sinful activities, we are in this position. Change our point of view. Pray to Krishna, please, please release me. Engage completely in Krishna's service with all your body, mind, and words. Oh, we must be alive in our relationship with Krishna and not be captivated by Maya. We need to have a real relationship with Krishna. Simply tolerate. Simply tolerate. We have to do anyway. That, yes. And it's, when Srila Prabhupada was in America in the beginning, one day he was somewhere at the West Coast. He was giving a lecture that, he was giving a lecture, and a devotee raised his hand and asked, Srila Prabhupada, do you have lust in your mind? Quite a question to ask to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada said no. But then that same morning, he was going down and devotees were going to drive him to another temple. And the devotee who asked that question opened the door. And Srila Prabhupada looked at him and said, yes, I've lust in my mind, but I've no time for that, for it. Too busy. So that's the point. If we are always busy, our mind focused on Krishna in devotional service, no time for it. It's not that Srila Prabhupada had lust in his mind. He was just teaching here. But yes. Now we will read a few verses without comments, without purports. That 17. Sukadev Goswami continued. After speaking in this way, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu immediately disappeared, and Lord Shiva remained there with Uma, looking for him all around with moving eyes. Thereafter, in the forest nearby, full of trees with reddish leaves and varieties of flowers, Lord Shiva saw a beautiful woman playing with a ball. Her hips were covered with a shining sari and ornamented with a belt. Because the ball was falling down and bouncing up, she played with it, her breast trembled, and because of the weight of those breasts and her heavy flower garlands, her waist appeared to be all but breaking at every step, as her two soft feet, which were reddish like coral, moved here and there. The woman's face was decorated by broad, beautiful, restless eyes, which moved as the ball bounced here and there from her hand. The two brilliant earrings on her ears decorated her shining cheeks like bluish reflections, and the hair scattered on her face made her even more beautiful to see. 21. As she played with the ball, the sari covering her body became loose and her hair scattered. She tried to bind her hair with her beautiful left hand, and at the same time she played with the ball by striking it with her right hand. So this was so attractive that Supreme Lord, by his internal potency, in this way captivated everyone. That in the middle of the purport, Lord Sambhu, Shiva, was not to be captivated by the eternal potency, but because Lord Vishnu wanted to captivate him also, he exhibited his internal potency to act in that way, that his external potency acts to captivate ordinary living entities. Yeah. Lord Vishnu can captivate anyone, even such a strong personality as Lord Shambhu. So it said, normally, this eternal potency does not act in this way. How does his eternal potency act? Normally, the internal potency disillusions the living entities. Usually, the internal energy that does not cover you, but it shows you the reality of the spiritual world, the internal potency. But here, this internal potency is used in the same way as the external potency to bewilder Lord Shiva. Generally, the internal potency liberates you and stimulates the remembrance of Krishna, but now it acts in a different way. Interesting, Lord Krishna can use his energies as he desires. That Pujant, who said, the glance of a woman can kill a man. That the eyes, the eyebrows, and the glances, that they are like glances. The eyebrows and the glances, they are like arrows. The glance of a man can kill a woman as well. So be careful. Verse 22. While Lord Shiva observed the beautiful woman playing with the ball, she sometimes glanced at him and slightly smiled in bashfulness. So as he looked at the beautiful woman and she watched him, he forgot both himself and Uma, his most beautiful wife, as well as associates nearby. That the 5 lines down in the purport. That yeah. Such are the affairs that began when Lord Shiva observed the beautiful girl playing with the ball. In such activities, the influence of Cupid is very prominent. As both parties move their eyebrows and glance at one another, their lusty desires increases more and more. Such reciprocation of lusty desire took place between Lord Shiva and the beautiful woman, and thus Uma and Lord Shiva's associates, whereby Lord Shiva's side. Such is the attraction between man and woman in the material world. Lord Shiva was supposed to be above all these attractions, but he was victimized by the captivating power of Lord Vishnu. That now we will read up to verse 30. When the ball leaped from her hand and fell at a distance, the woman began to follow it, but Lord Shiva observed these activities. A breeze suddenly blew away the fine dress and belt that covered her. Thus Lord Shiva saw the woman, every part of whose body was beautifully formed, and the beautiful woman also looked at him. Therefore, thinking that she was attracted to him, Lord Shiva became very much attracted to her. Lord Shiva, his good sense was taken away by the woman because of lusty desires to enjoy with her. Because so mad for her that even in the presence of Bhavani, he did not hesitate to approach her. The beautiful woman was already naked, and when she saw Lord Shiva coming toward her, she became extremely bashful. Thus she kept smiling, but she hid herself among the trees and did not stand in one place. His senses being agitated, Lord Shiva victimized by lusty desires, began to follow her, just as a lusty elephant follows a she-elephant. After following her with great speed, Lord Shiva caught her by the breadth of her hair and dragged her near him. Although she was unwilling, he embraced her with his arms. Being embraced by Lord Shiva, like a female elephant embraced by a male, the woman whose hair was scattered, swallowed like a snake. O king, this woman had large hips, was a woman of Yoga Maya, presented by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She released herself somehow or other from the fond embrace of Lord Shiva and ran away. So, text 31. As he was harassed by an enemy in the form of lusty desires, Lord Shiva followed the path of Lord Vishnu, who acts very wonderfully, and who had taken the form of Mohini. So Lord Shiva cannot be victimized by Maya, the purport. Therefore it is to be understood that Lord Shiva was being thus harassed by Lord Vishnu's internal potency. Lord Vishnu can protect many wonderful activities through his various potencies. Parasya Saktir Vidaiva Shuchate Svabhaviki Jnana Bala Kriyacha. The Supreme Lord has various potencies by which he can act efficiently. To do anything expertly, he doesn't even need to contemplate. Since Lord Shiva was being harassed by the woman, it is to be understood that this was being done not by a woman, but by Lord Vishnu himself. Thus, yes. So, in this world, when we act as a fool, then it is because of lust. A question, Bhakti Narasimha's one. Why Lord Shiva's wife did not stop him from following Mohini, since it is her duty to protect her husband from Maya? That's a good question. Of course, who can stop Lord Shiva? Even Durga is not able to do that. He is one of the three presiding deities in this world. Text 32. Just as a maddened elephant follows a female elephant who is able to conceive pregnancy, Lord Shiva followed a beautiful woman and discharged semen, even though his discharge of semen never goes in vain. Text 33. O king, wheresoever on the surface of the globe fell the semen of the great personality of Lord Shiva, mines of gold and silver later appeared. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada, we have a comment of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He comments that those who see gold and silver can worship Lord Shiva for material opulences. Lord Shiva lives under a bale tree and does not even construct a house in which to dwell. But although he is apparently poverty-stricken, his devotees are sometimes opulently endowed with large quantities of silver and gold. Parikshit Maharaj later asked about this, and Sukadev Goswami replies that so Lord Shiva is not ordinary, but still there is a warning here, that a warning from this pastime we will hear. Verse 34. Following Mohini, Lord Shiva went everywhere, near the shores of the rivers, lakes, near the mountains, near the forest, near the gardens, and wherever there lived great sages. So the purport that it is said that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks that Moini Mukti dragged Lord Shiva to so many places, especially to where the great sages lived, to instruct the sages that their Lord had become mad for a beautiful woman. Thus, although they were all great sages and saintly persons, they should not think themselves free, but should remain extremely cautious about beautiful women. No one should think himself liberated in the presence of a beautiful woman. So, therefore, Moini Mukti, he led Lord Shiva to the sages so that the sages could see Lord Shiva in such a condition. So Lord Chaitanya, he took also part of, he took the part of Moini Mukti, and he danced in this drama for the devotees. That you can read in Chaitanya Bhagavat, this beautiful pastime. In a lecture in Vrindavan in 1976, Srila Prabhupada said, you should not make friendship with your mind. Never think that you become very advanced and think yourself controlled. As soon as you think that you are controlled, you will be tested, he says. So he said, never trust your mind. At any moment, the mind can drag you down. So this is an example of Lord Shiva captivated by Moini Mukti, teaching that we should be careful and don't trust our mind. Try to control it. The easiest way is Harinam, Srila Prabhupada said, Harinam as a solution. So we should not take shelter of Durga, of the material energy. She cannot protect us. She could not protect Lord Shiva either. Although it was our duty, as Bhakti Narasingha Maharaj is writing here. Text 35 and 36. O Maharaj Parikshit, best of kings, when Lord Shiva had fully discharged semen, he could see how he himself had been victimized by the illusion created by the personality, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus he restrained himself from any further Maya. So the last line of the purport, first I read 36 also. Thus the Lord could understand his position. Lord Shiva could understand his position and that of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has unlimited potencies. Having reached this understanding, he was not at all surprised by the wonderful way Lord Vishnu acted upon him. Last line of the purport, Lord Shiva was already aware of the supreme power of Lord Vishnu, but when he was actually put into bewilderment, he felt proud to have such an exalted master. He felt proud because of the Supreme Lord. That's interesting. That here Lord Shiva, the best of the demigods, is falling down in front of his wife, his associates, all the great sages. And how does he feel about it? That's explained here. He was not surprised. He was proud of his master. So that's the result that proves that he was under the influence of the internal energy of the Lord, not the external. Internal energy because the internal energy brings us closer to Krishna. That's an important difference. There is a difference between theoretical knowledge and experienced knowledge. How much greater the Lord is than Lord Shiva. The internal energy is enhancing the lila of the Lord. Actually, Lord Shiva is happy because in this lila, the Lord is glorified and he remains the servant. The master has defeated him. So verse 37 explains now how Lord Vishnu feels about it. That seeing Lord Shiva unagitated and unashamed, Lord Vishnu, Madhusudan was very pleased. Thus he resumed his original form and spoke as follows. So we have here at the end of the purport, whatever happened had taken place under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore there was no cause to be sorry or ashamed. Although Lord Shiva is never defeated by anyone, when defeated by Lord Vishnu, he felt proud and he had such an exalted and powerful master. Yeah. Do you remember other examples of very powerful people in this world who were happy that they were defeated? Powerful people in this world who were happy that they were defeated. You can write just one line in the chat if you remember powerful persons who were happy that they were defeated. That we come back to that, but I will just read the last verse in time. That's verse 38, right? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O best of the demigods, although you have been amply harassed because of my potency in assuming the form of a woman, you are established in your position. Therefore, all good fortune may be upon you. So Lord Vishnu is pleased with Lord Shiva's attitude. And he's going to give him his blessings now. Does anyone have the experience that in the worst reverse, then the best thing comes out? That's interesting. That we have here Lord Chaitanya by Ishvarapuri. That's a nice example here. That also Lord Brahma was defeated by Krishna in the Brahma Moha Lila. Advaitacharya was preaching Mayavadi philosophy just to get chastised by Lord Chaitanya. When Lord Chaitanya was chastising him, was beating him, he was laughing. Of course, Bali Maharaj will be defeated by Lord Vamandev. And Srila Prabhupada was defeated by, yes, it's just someone posted what I was going to say. Srila Prabhupada was defeated by Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Maharaj in his first meeting, yes. And Lord Chaitanya was defeated by Ishvarapuri. That's are all examples. So who else became proud, and the Lord showed them mercy. Yes, Bhishmadev, that's also a good point. That when he was fighting with Krishna on the battlefield. So Uddhav was sent to Vrindavan to learn from the gopis, and he got the best experience from it. Garuda became proud of his strength, and then he could not carry Vishnu anymore. That the Brahma, Vimor and Lila, who is this little coward boy, Brahma was thinking. Indra also became proud, and Krishna showed him showed him how he lifted Govardhan. So Damodar Pandit criticized Lord Chaitanya. He was sent back to Bengal. You go and take care of all the votes in Bengal. You go and make sure everyone is following the rules in Bengal. Also the gopis became proud and he left them. Radharani became proud and the Lord left her. So these things are happening, even with the highest devotees in the spiritual world. Shambhavan was happy to be defeated. That's a nice example also, that Krishna didn't allow Yudhishthira to come out of lamentation by his advice, but Bhishma gave instructions could bring him out of lamentation. Good. We continue. Was still text 39. My dear Lord Samba, who live in the material world, but you can surpass my illusory energy. People are generally attached to sense enjoyment and conquered by its influence. Indeed, the influence of the material nature is very difficult to surmount. Now he's praising Lord Shiva. He's saying that he's the only one who can surmount the material energy. Text 40. The material energy who cooperates with me in creation and who is manifested in the three modes of nature will not be able to bewilder you any longer. So before he may have been captivated, but now is not captivated, Lord Shiva. Now Lord Shiva is receiving blessings. 41. We'll read a few verses. Sukadev Goswami said, O King, having thus been praised by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who bears the mark of Shivatsa and on his chest, Lord Shiva circumambulated him. Then after taking permission from him, Lord Shiva returned to his abode, Kailash, along with his associates. So text 42. O descendant of Bharat Maharaj, Lord Shiva in jubilation then addressed his wife Bhavani, who accepted by all authorities as the potency of Lord Vishnu. Lord Shiva said, O goddess, you have now seen the illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the unborn master of everyone. Although I am one of the principal expansions of his lordship, even I was illusioned by his energy. What then is to be said of others who are fully dependent on Maya? Text 44. When I finished performing mystic yoga for 1,000 years, you asked me upon whom I was meditating. Now here is that Supreme Person to whom time has no entrance and has no and who the Vedas cannot understand. So here it is said that time cannot enter the spiritual world. How can we understand that time has no attraction in the spiritual world? I give a few reasons. No death, no birth, disease, and old age. There are no transformations. There is no material energy in the material world, so time cannot control that. Then in 7:1:8, we learned that time follows the will of the Lord. There is no action and reaction in the spiritual world. Time and space are relative to desire of the Lord. It facilitates the desire of the Lord. He can extend the day if he wants. Ham Evasa Mega, he existed before time and space were created. Therefore, in the spiritual world, how can there be such things? There's only present, no past and future in the spiritual world. In the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, it is described that in Goloka Vrindavan, they experience again and again the lifting of Govardhan. But for them, it's always like the first time. It is just the first time for that. So this pastime are repeated by the Lord. Time is inconceivable. That there are here 6 seasons, in India at least, but in the spiritual world there can be 6 seasons at the same time. Spring comes with its best thing, and fall comes with its best things when the Lord appears. Even when he comes here, he brings his influence from the spiritual world. Verse 45. Yes. Sukadev Goswami said, my dear king, the person who bore the great mountain on his back for the churning of the ocean is the same Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Sharangadamva. I've now described to you his prowess. 46. The endeavor of one who constantly hears or describes this narration of churning the ocean of milk will never be fruitless. Indeed, chanting the glories of the personality of Godhead is the only means to annihilate all sufferings in this material world. So this is a shrutifal of the result of hearing this pastime. That here is the cure for all your suffering. Krishna is compared to the cloud. The cloud is his friend. Krishna is accepted as the friend of the cloud because Krishna and the cloud are satisfying people. When the people burning from the heat are satisfied with the rain from the cloud, similarly, where people become disturbed by the blazing fire of material existence, Krishna consciousness gives them relief like a cloud. Yes. So relief at one hand, we must just take advantage of relief from suffering, either material and spiritual. Materially, we suffer from different material desires, different sinful reactions. Spiritually, we suffer from separation from the pure devotee of Krishna. So here's the only means to become free from suffering, materially or spiritually. There's a question. Shiva didn't felt insulted that he was running behind a woman and all sadhus were seeing him. No, because he was under this internal potency of the Supreme Lord. It was Krishna's plan to bring before the sadhus to show how dangerous it is, the association with a beautiful woman while thinking oneself can control oneself. So is Pancharatra Vidhi text 10 deity worship? Yes, sure. That's part of Pancharatra. The method of deity worship is included in that. Text 47. Last verse here. Assuming the form of a young woman and thus bewildering the demons, the Supreme Personality of Godhead distributed to his devotees, the demigods, the nectar produced from the churning of the ocean of milk, and to that Personality of Godhead, who always fulfill desires of his devotees, offer my respectful obeisances. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada quotes 929 that speaks about the partiality of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is natural. A person cares for his children not because of partiality, but in reciprocation of love. The children depend on the father's affection, and the fathers affectionately maintain the children. Similarly, because devotees do not know anything but the lotus feet of the Lord is always prepared to give protection to his devotees and fulfill his desires. He therefore says, Kantya Padajanihi Nami Bhaktya Panashati, O son of Kuti, declare it boldly that my devotees never perishes. So that is chapter 12. And now we will look at chapter 13 and 14, description of future Manus and the system of universal management. So here we will speak about the rest of the Manus that we have heard about. We heard about 6 Manus until now. In the cantos 3 to 7, we have Swayambhuva Manu, the first one. In canto 8, chapter 1, we have two new Manus, Uttama and Svaruchisa. And then later we heard about Tamasa. Chapter 1 to 4 is all the reign of Tamasa. The incarnation Hari, who saved Gajendra, appeared during the reign of Tamasa. And we have 2 more Manus, Raivata and Sakshusa. Chapter 5 to 12 are describing Sakshusa Manu, and also chapter 24 will describe Sakshusa. Which incarnation appeared during the Sakshusa Manvantar? Ajita also Manvan, Ajita and also Mohini. We also hear about Matsya at the end. Now this verse is describing our present Manu, first one. It's called Shadadev, the first verse. The first Manu in the first verse, Shadadev. But it's Vaishvata Manu. Vaishvata Manu is the son of Vivashvan. That's the Iman Vishvasvate Proktam. That's the first verse of the 4th chapter. Imam Vishvasvate Proktam. Yeah. Anyway, I don't remember the Sanskrit, but this Vaishvata Manu is mentioned there as the son of Vivashvan, is born as the son of Vivashvan. Imam Vishvasvate Proktam, Imam Rachasyovitu. Yeah. I just need the first verse for 1 Bhagavad Gita. Imam Vishvasvate Yogam Proktavam Amavyam Vivashvan Manave Prava Manrix Vakave Pravit. Vivashvan, that the sun god, and then to his son, Vaishvata Manu, the son of Vivashvan. So Vivashvan in explained to Manu, and this Manu is Vaishvata Manu because he's the son of Vivashvan, and his name is Shadadev. So Shadadev born as the son of Vivashvan. I read the verse. Sukadev Goswami said, the present Manu, who is named Shadadev, the son of Vivashvan, the predominating deity on the sun planet, Shadadev is the 7th Manu. Now, please hear from me as I describe his sons. So that's the present Manu, the Manu we have now, Shadadev. And we will hear the next Manu will be Bala Maharaj. We will hear in the past time later that Vamandev will send Bali writes to the Sutal planet and said, in your next life you will become the next Manu. No, in your next life you will become the Indra. Indra, I think. Indra next, not a Manu. But that's in the next Manu. So which incarnation will appear during this Manu, Shadadev? Of course, Vamandev, we will hear. Who else? Of course, Krishna, Balaram, Lord Chaitanya, Buddha, they all appeared in this Manu. Although Vamandev is the one that is listed, so many are coming. So we are very fortunate that we are close to the last incarnations, Lord Chaitanya, just 500 years ago, and Kalki will come at the end. Interesting is here that the Bhagavatam speaks about future Manus. It predicts the future here. So verse 2 and 3. Yeah, Bali will become the next Indra, not Manu, because he wanted to go to heaven, so we'll get the position. Text here, 2 and 3. O King Parikshit, among the 10 sons of Manu and Ikshvaku, Nabha, Drishti, Saryati, Narishyanta, and Nabha, the 7th son is known as Dishta. Then come Tarusa and Prishadra, and the 10th son is known as Vasuman. So in the 9th canto, we will hear about all these different sons here. The 9th canto will also go in great detail about the Surya Vamsa and the Soma Vamsa. That we heard Ikshvaku studied Bhagavad Gita from his father Manu. Then Saryati is the father of Sukanya, who married Syavana Rishi, and Prishada was cursed to be a Sudra. Yeah, that's an interesting pastime. We cannot go into it, but we will hear about that in the next canto, the 9th canto. Text 4. In this Manvatar, O king of the Adityas, the Vasus, the Rudras, the Vishvadevs, the Maruts, the 2 Ashvini Kumara brothers, and the Rebus are the demigods. Their head king, Indra, is Purandara. So here we have the name of the present Indra. So the Indra is a post, and the name of Indra right now is Purandara. So the Indra who was bewildered by, who tried to defeat Krishna. He fought many times with Krishna, the present Indra. Also, he tried to destroy the residents of Vrindavan by sending some Vartaka clouds and so on. This Indra his name is Purandar. So, but every time there's a change of Manu, there's also a change of 7 sages. But whenever Manu change, all the demigods and sages change, and the sages, they change. So these are the present 6 changes. These are the present 6 sages that are mentioned in this verse. Which are mentioned now in text 5. And the 6 sages are Kasyapi, Atra, Vashista, Vishwamitra, Gautam, Jamadagni, and Bharadvaj are known as the 7 sages. These are the present sages. So we see, if we look at these personalities, we know most of them from the Bhagavatam. Kashyapa is a grandson of Lord Brahma. He's one of the Prajapatis. Srila Prabhupada writes, the son of Marichi. He's the son of Marichi, one of the son-in-laws of Prajapati Daksha, that's father of the gigantic bird Garuda. And was given elephants and tortoises as eatables. That is what Garuda is eating. So there's Ananga Moini, she writes, a devotee got disconnected. Please, can you let him in? But I don't see anyone logging in for the moment. There's no one in the waiting room. Let's see if I see someone coming in, I will let him in. So Garuda was giving elephants and tortoises, that's eatables. He married 13, Kashyapa Muni, he married 13 daughters of Daksha. Of course, Diti, the mother of the demons, and Aditi, the mother of the demigods. But you have also Danu, Kashta, Arista, Surasa, Ila, Muni, Kodavasa, Tamra, Surabi, and Timi. He begot many children, demigods, and demons by those wives. From his first wife, Aditi, all the 12 Adityas were born, and one of them is Vamandev. He was also present at the time, Kashyapa Muni was also present at the time of Arjuna's birth. Interesting. That he received the presentation of the whole world from Parashuram, and later he asked Parashuram to go out of the world. His other name is Aristanemi. He lives at the northern side of the universe. He lives near to the North Pole where the 7 stars are. The Big Dipper in the words of the Western scientists. Then we have Atri Muni. Atri Muni, he was a great Brahmin sage. He was one of the mental sons of Brahma, one of the 7 Manasaputras, and one of the 7 sages. In his family, the Prashetas were born, coming from Atri Muni. He had 2 Kshatriya sons who became kings. But who else are Atri Muni's famous sons? Dattatreya was his son. Durvas and Soma is the father of Soma, our moon god. So Vasishta is a prominent figure in the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. He celebrated the coronation ceremony of Lord Ram. He was also present at the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He could approach the higher and lower planets, and yes, his names are also connected with, Vasishta's name is also connected with the history of Hiranyakasipu. Well, he was practically in every lila, Vasishta. In the Ram lila, in the Nrsimha lila, in the Krishna lila. There was a great tension between Vasishta and Vishwamitra, who wanted his Kamadhenu, his wish-fulfilling cow. Vasishta Muni refused to share his Kamadhenu, and for this Vishwamitra killed his 100 sons. As a perfect Brahmin, he tolerated all the taints of Vishvamitra. Once he tried to commit suicide on account of Vishvamitra's torture, but all of his attempts were unsuccessful. He jumped from a hill, but the stones on which he fell became a stack of cotton. Thus he was saved. He jumped into the ocean, but the waves washed him ashore. He jumped into the river, and the river washed him ashore. All his suicide attempts were unsuccessful, even amongst the great sages. There are suicide attempts, we see that. So Vishvamitra's father, he was a Kshatriya. Although he was a Kshatriya by birth, he became a Brahman. He became a Brahman in the very same body that by the power of his spiritual achievements. Vishvamitra got into a quarrel with Vashishta when he was a Kshatriya king, performing a great sacrifice in cooperation with Matanda Muni, who was able to vanquish the sons of Vashishta. He became a great yogi, but he failed. He failed to check his senses, and he was obliged to father Sakuntala, the beautiful queen of the world history. Once, when he was a Kshatriya king, he was visiting the hermitage of Vashishta and was giving a royal reception. Vishvamitra wanted a cow named Nandini, but the Muni refused to deliver it. So Vishvamitra stole the cow, and there was a quarrel, and Vishvamitra was defeated by the spiritual strength of Vashishta. Thus the king decided to become a Brahmin. So he underwent severe austerity on the bank of Kausika. He was also one who tried to stop the Kurukshetra war. Not only did Krishna try to stop the Kurukshetra war, the sages also. Then we have Gautam. Gautam is one of the 7 sages. So Saratvan Gautam were one of his was one of his sons. Persons in the Gautam Gotra today are either his family descendants or his disciplic succession. The Brahmins who profess Gautama Gotra are generally his family descendants, and the Kshatriyas and Vaishyas who possess Gautama Gotra are all in the line of his disciplic succession. So 2 ways to be in a Gotra. One is initiation, the other is by birth. He was a husband of the famous Ahalaya, who turned into stone when Indradev, the king of heaven, molested her. Ahalya was delivered by Lord Ramchandra. Gautam was the father of Kipacharya, one of the heroes on the battle of Kurukshetra. And he's the father of logic, Nyaya philosophy, Gautama. Then we have Jamadagni. He's the father of Vishvamitra, Jamadagni, the father of Vishvamitra, had a daughter Satyavati, and she married Rishika Muni, and her son was Jamadagni, and his son was Parasuran. When a king, Kartavirayun, stole Jamadagni's wish-fulfilling cow, Parashuram, who is a Satyavesa avatar incarnation of the Lord, killed Kartavirayun. And later he annihilated the Kshatriya dynasties 21 times. 21 times. After Parashuram killed Kartavirayun, Jamadagni told him that killing a king is sinful, and as a Brahmin, he should have tolerated the offense. Therefore, Jamadagni advised Parashuram to atone for his sin by visiting various holy places. Then the last one of the 7 sages, Bharadvaj. He was also present at the time of the birth of Arjuna. It took some time austerities. He did austerities at the shore of the Ganga, and his ashram is still celebrated at Prayag Dham. The rishi, while taking bath in the Ganga, happened to meet one of the beautiful society girls of heaven. Thus he discharged semen, which was kept in an earthen pot from which Drona was born. So Dronacharya is the son of Bharadvaj Muni. He was a great devotee of Brahma. Once he approached Brahma, requested him to start the battle of Kurukshetra. So these are the 7 sages. Now we read verse 6 to 9. In this Manvantar, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the youngest of the Adityas, known as Vamana, the dwarf, his father was Kashyapa and his mother Aditi. So we will hear about Vamandev's appearance during the next days. I've briefly explained to you the position of the 7 manas. Now I shall describe the future manas, along with the incarnations of Lord Vishnu. O King, I have previously described in the 6th canto the 2 daughters of Vishvakarma, that named Samja and Chaya, who were the first 2 wives of Vivasvan. So we will hear about these 2 daughters, Samya and Chaya. But we first go on reading text 9. It is said that the sun god had a 3rd wife named Vadava. Of the 3 wives, the wife named Samja had 3 children, Yama, Yami, Shradadeva. Now let me describe the children of Chaya. So Vivasvan is the father of Shradadeva, and his mother is Samya, and our present Manu has a brother and a sister, Yamaraj and Yamuna. They are the children of Vivasvan. Now text 10. Chaya had a son named Savarni and a daughter named Tapati, who later became the wife of King Samvarana. Chaya's 3rd child is known as Shainashara, the planet Saturn. And Vadava gave birth to 2 sons, namely the Ashvini brothers. So now Saturn is the 3rd child of Chaya. So Vivasvan had 3 wives, Samya, Chaya, and Vadava. And Samya gave birth to Yama and Yami, and Chaya to Saturn, and Vadava to the Ashvini brothers. Now I will read a comment on this by Sridhar Swami. And that's interesting. Some say that Vadava or mare means a female horse. So this Vadava was the 3rd wife. But my opinion is that Vadava is the same Jakhya in the form of a mare. Just as it said in Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam 6.640. This is Sridhar Swami's comment. Then she again, Samya, while wandering on the earth in the form of a mare, gave birth to 3 children, Yama, Yamuna, and Shradadeva, and also as far as Chaya is concerned. I heard that once Samya was feeling the rays of Vivasvan too intolerable. Vivasvan is the sun god, and he gave too much heat, Samya, his wife, felt. so she could not tolerate living with him anymore. Thus she left some shadow or something, a substitute called Chaya. Chaya means shadow, so it was a shadow of herself. It was a shadow of Samya, because it became too intense living with Vivasvan. You can imagine living with the sun, a very fiery personality. So Samya left Chaya, the shadow of herself, and then Chaya gave birth to Saturn, Sanashar, and others. The story is, maybe it's in the Mahabharata. She left the shadow and went hiding in the form of a mare. And that's the third wife, Vadava. Samya left the shadow of herself, Chaya, which means a duplicate. And in the meantime, she was hiding in the form of a female horse on earth. And that's the third wife, Vadava. So it's all the same wife. That's interesting. But Vivasvan took the form of a male horse and found her. Then Vishvakarma arranged their marriage. It cut off 1/8 of the race of Vivasvan and made from them the Sudarshan chakra. So that Sanya could stay with him because he had become less intense. 1/8 less, 1/8 was gone. These things are happening in the heavenly planets. So the 8th Manu is the son of Chaya. Text 11. O king, when the period of the 8 Manus arrives, Savarni will become the Manu. Nirmoka and Virasyaska will be among his sons. So the purport that his present reign is that of Vaivasvata Manu, according to astronomical calculations, that we are now in the 28th yuga of Vaishvata Manu. Each Manu lives for 21 yugas, and 14 such Manus rule in one day of Lord Brahma. We are now in the period of Vaishvata Manu, the 7th Manu, and the 8th Manu will come into existence after many millions of years. But Sukadev Goswami, having heard from authorities, foretells that the 8th Manu will be Savarni, and that Nirmoka and Virayaska will be among his sons. Shastra can foretell what will happen millions and millions of years in the future. A Manu lives for 71 yugas. How many years is that? It's 330 million years for one Manu. Our present Manu is 30 years old. 1/3 of his 71 yugas has passed. So Shastra can tell what's happening in the future. But there are other predictions. Buddha was predicted in Srimad Bhagavatam that then in the beginning of Kali Yuga, the Lord will appear as Lord Buddha, the son of Archama, in the province of Gaya, just for the purpose of deluding those who are envious of the faithful theist. That's 1.3.24, first canto. But there's another prediction. 11.5.32. Krishna Varmant Visakrishnam Sangoparastas Parshanam Zakhir Sankirtnam Paya Yanti Isha Medasa. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the names of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, his Krishna himself is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. So also Kalki is predicted, that Kali Yuga is predicted, and the symptoms of Kali Yuga are predicted in the 12th canto. Sankhya Pandit's appearance is predicted in the 12th canto. Predictions, there are many predictions in the 12th canto. It's said there that this 12, canto 12, chapter 1, verse 39, 40. There it said, barbarians in the guise of kings will devour the citizens, murdering innocent women, children, cows, and Brahmins, and coveting the wives and property of others. They will be erratic in their moods, have little strength of character, and be short-lived. Indeed, not purified by Vedic rituals and lacking in the practice of regulative principles, they will be completely covered by the modes of passion and ignorance. There are more predictions of Kali Yuga. Without money, you cannot have justice in Kali Yuga. And that's true. That's true right now. Long hair will be considered beautiful. And one who is arrogant will be considered truthful. A spiritual position will be ascertained by external symptoms. People will change from one spiritual order to the next. If someone does not earn a good living, he will be considered crazy, insane. He's insane if he cannot support himself. He will be a hero when he can maintain his family in Kali Yuga. A sacred place will be considered to be no more than a reservoir of water. It is already like that. Many Indians go to holy places, take baths, take photos, go eat in the places and look around, and that is their pilgrimage. Then they go back to show the pictures. Filling the belly will become the goal of life. These are predictions from Srimad Bhagavatam. That text 12. In the period of the 8th Manu, among the demigods will be the Sutapas, the Virajas, and the Amrita Prabhas. The king of the demigods, Indra, will be Balimaj, the son of Virochan. So the next Indra, so the 8th, will be the next Indra will be a pure devotee. The son of Virochan means Bali Maharaj. That we will hear later also. Text 13. Bali Maharaj gave a gift of 3 paces of land to Lord Vishnu, and because of his charity, he lost all the 3 balls. Later, however, when Lord Vishnu is pleased, because of Bali's giving everything to him, Bali Maharaj will achieve the perfection of life. Short purport. So we will hear this lila now very soon. In Bhagavad Gita 7.3, it is stated, Manusyanam sasya sukhashi jyatatas siddhaye. Out of many millions of people, one may attempt to achieve success in life. This success is explained here. Radam Indra Padamitva Tata Siddhim Avapsyati. Siddhi consists of achieving the favor of Lord Vishnu, not the yoga siddhis. That the yoga siddhis anima, lagma, maina, prakti, prakamya, ishitva, vasitva, and kama vasaita are temporary. The ultimate siddhi is to achieve the favor of the Lord. So in the higher planetary systems, are they also affected by different yugas? Yes, but the field of karma is the earth. The field of karma is the earth, and there you have this, on earthly planets, these 4 yugas are felt. But in the heavenly planets, there is no effect of Kali Yuga in the heavenly planets. No, that's on the earthly planets. Purandar present one is not a pure devotee. Well, we heard about these problems in his fight with Lord Krishna. But of course, demigods are devotees. But although he may be a pure devotee, mostly the devotees in the heavenly planets are Sakam Bhaktas. They have some material desires. And Purandar, he felt himself the controller, and he became bewildered. Of course, they don't have rosy desires like us, material desires. They are more subtle, but still, it's a bewildering place, the heavenly planets. Will Bali Maharaj also act in the same way in the future? That's not mentioned here. I don't know that, but Krishna may use him as an instrument in his pastimes, and to his internal energy, bewilder him like he did with Arjuna, and like we heard here with Lord Shiva. That's possible. So, verse 13, Bali Maharaj lost everything to Lord Vishnu. So Krishna, but then after he gained everything. So is there anyone who wants to be in a position of Bali Maharaj and give everything to Krishna here? Do you want that? Do you want to give everything to Krishna? Let that thought enter in your mind. Today, whatever I have, I will give to Krishna. How does that make you feel? A little nervous? Anyway, if you use it in Krishna's service, then it's okay. Pujampa Prabhu comments, we think if we give everything to Krishna, he will give us something, but it will be so subtle that we don't know we have it or not. That's interesting. We may say, yes, maybe when I'm older, then I give everything to Krishna. Or one may think, when my son and daughter is married later, then I can give everything to Krishna. So, but we should be in the mood that whatever Krishna wants, I'm ready to give. So 14, with great affection, the personality of God had bound Bali and then installed him in the kingdom of Sutal, which is more opulent than the heavenly planets. Bali Maharaj now resides on that planet and is more comfortable situated than Indra. That's where Bali is now. And so you have some time ago, you have studied the geography of the universe, right? In the 5th canto. The knees of the universe are Sutal, Atal, but it's more opulent than Indra's planet. So Krishna takes everything away and then he gives you something much better. But to speak of spiritual benedictions, not only did he give him something more opulent than Indra, he gave also himself, which is the most wonderful thing. Text 15-16. O king, during the 8th Manvantar, the great personalities Galava, Diptiman, Parasuram, Ashvatam, Kepacharya, Rishashringa, and our father Vyasadeva, the incarnation of Narayan, will be the 7 sages. For the present, they are all residing in their respective ashrams. So, which name surprises you here? I would say it's certainly Ashvatam. Ashvatam is going to be a great sage, and also Kepacharya. All these great Kshatriyas, Parasuram, become rishis in the next Manvantar. Sapta rishis, 7 sages. There will be 7 sages when Bali Maharaj is Indra, Kripa, Ashvatam, and Parasuram. They were all great Kshatriyas. Then the rest are Brahmins. Rishya Shringi, Romapad. There was no rainfall in the kingdom of Romapad. And he invited Rishya Shringi to his kingdom by sending some prostitutes, and he married his daughter Shanta. In the day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus. Now, 43 more Divya Yugas, and then this 8th Manu will come. And this will be the 7 sages, while Bali will be Indra during the next Manu. It is the same day of Brahma. Brahma's day is 1000 Divya Yugas. So that's, if we divide that by 14, then you have 71 Manus in one day of Brahma. So the present Manu is 28 Divya Yugas. There's cycles of 4 yugas have passed out of 71. So 39% of his life is over. Text 17. 17. In the 8th Manvantara, the great, powerful personality of Godhead Sarvabhauma will take birth. His father will be Devaguya, and his mother will be Sarasvati. He will take the kingdom away from Purandar, Lord Indra, and give it to Bali Maharaj. So that's interesting, that now Indra gets the kingdom of heaven, but it will be taken away by the next incarnation of the Lord and given to Bali. So if Purandar reads the Bhagavatam, then he will know. Indra is a post. Indra means the king of heaven, just like the president is a post. Text 18. O king, the 9th Manu will be Daksha Savarni, who is born of Varuna. Among his sons will Bhutaketu and Diptaketu. So Manu will be Varuna. It will go from, it will go from fire to water. Because fire means he was the man. The Manu was before Vaishvata Manu. The son of Vivashva. And now we will go to water. Interesting. So Bali Maharaj is controlling the lower planets, or only Sutal planets. We will hear of that later, but it's only controlling the Sutal planet. That's where he lives. Indra is controlling the heavenly planets. But of course, he's also controlling the rain, Indra. In that sense, he controls a bit more than just the heavenly planets. Verses 19 to 22. So, O king, the 9th Manu will be Daksha Savarni, who is born of Varuna. Among his sons will be Bhutaketu and Diptaketu. In his 9th Manvantar, the Paras and Maritshigarpas will be among the demigods. The king of heaven, Indra, will be named Adbhuta, and Dutiman will be among the 7 sages. Rishabh, a partial incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will take birth from his father Asyuman, and his mother Amudar will enable the Indra named Adbhuta to enjoy the opulence of the 3 worlds. Text 21. The son of Upasloka, known as Brahma Savarni, will be the 10th Manu. Purishena will be his son, and the Brahmins headed by Avishman will be the 7 sages. That are now 22. Yeah, the picture is in the book. Really there. Avishman, Sukrita, Satya, Jaya, Mukti, and others will be the 7 sages. The Suvanas, the Suvasanas, and Virudas will be among the demigods, and Sambhu will be their king, Indra. In the almost Vishvasrasta, a plenary portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead will appear from the womb of Vishuddhi as the incarnation known as Vishvaksena. He will make friends with Sambhu. So our commentators mention that the Sambhu mentioned here is not Lord Shiva. That's then text 24. In the 11th Manvantar, the man will be Dharma Savarni, who will be extremely learned in spiritual knowledge. From him, there will be 10 sons, headed by Satya Dharma. The Vihangamas, Kamagamas, Nirvana Ruchis, and others will be the demigods. The king of the demigods, Indra, will be Vaidrita, and the 7 sages will be headed by Aruna. So Aruna is the charioteer of the sun god Vivashvan and the brother of Garuda. And their father must then be Kashyapa Muni. So this interesting, this Aruna will be one of the 7 sages that they get different posts in different manners. That 26 will read till the end. The son of Aryaka, known as Dharma Setu, a partial incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will appear from the womb of Vaidrita, the wife of Aryaka, and will rule the 3 worlds. O king, the 12th Manu will be named Rudra Savarni. Devavan, Upadeva, and Devashista will be among his sons. In this Manvantar, the name of Indra will be Ritadam, and the demigods will be headed by the Aritas. Among the sages will be Tapomukti, Tapashvi, and Agnidraka. From the mother named Surita and the father named Satyasaha will come Svadama, a partial incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who will rule that Manvantar. The 13th Manu will be named Devasavarni, and he will be very advanced in spiritual knowledge. Among his sons will be Citrasena and Vishitra. In the 13th Manvantar, the Sukarmas and the Sutramas will be among the demigods. Divashpati will be the king of heaven, and Nirmoka and Tattvadarsha will be among the 7 sages. The son of Devautra, known as Yogeshwar, will appear as a partial incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His mother name will be Bharati. He will perform activities for the welfare of Divashpati. The name of the 14th Manu will be Indra Savarni. He will have sons like Ur, Gambhira, and Buddha. The Pavitras and Sakshusas will be among the demigods, and Suchi will be the Indra, king of heaven. Agni, Bahu, Suchi, Sudha, Magadha, and others of great austerity will be the 7 sages. King Parikshit, the 14th Manvantar, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will appear from the womb of Vitana, and his father's name will be Satrajana. This incarnation will be celebrated as Priyat Banu and will administer spiritual activities. O king, I have now described to you the 14 Manus appearing in the past, present, and future the total duration of time ruled by the Manus is 1000 yuga cycles. This is called Kalpa, or 1 day of Brahma. So we have heard the description of the 14 Manus, and now we will hear a chapter 14, the system of universal management. So that system of universal management is a chapter which a short chapter, and then we will hear again from Pali Maharaj and go back to the past time, the fight between the demons and the demigods. We'll hear how Pali Maharaj will conquer the heavenly planets. So, of course, we had heard from these Manus and all these descriptions, but how do these Manus, how do they get their position? It's not only the Manus, also Indra and all the demigods. Yeah, and that's explained in chapter 14. Tomorrow we will discuss chapter 14 and 15, that how Pali conquers heavenly planets. So we will stop here. So we go back to our questions. So someone wants to answer this question, which we put in the chat in the beginning. Why is it impossible for those in the base modes of nature to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead? On the other hand, how is it possible in Kali Yuga? Hare Krishna. Yes, Ananga Moini, you can speak.
Because those in the base mode, passion and ignorance, they're associated with the body and they're addicted to all the bad habits, namely the principles that we follow, illicit sex, gambling, intoxication, and meat eating. So they're all addicted to these bad habits. So it's impossible for them to understand the Lord. And the only way in this age is by deity worship, but under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master.
Okay, this is, I would say, the basic answer on this question. But of course, in this age, there is also another way to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead on deity worship. But following the Pancharataka Vidhi, that's recommended. That was recommended. Someone else want to answer or has to add something?
Maharaj,
Yes.
Something? In this age, Lord Chaitanya, because of Lord Chaitanya's mercy and with the holy name's potency, we would be able to experience the Supreme Lord.
Yeah, that was in the purport also. That's how we get the mercy in this age. And that because when all these bad habits, we have all these bad habits in Kali Yuga, and there is practically no hope for us. But by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, chanting his holy names, that is the Yuga Dharma, the way to get the mercy. Yes. Are there any other questions on these two chapters that we had? The bewildering of Moini Mukti and the other or about all these manus. Yes, Natya Bihari.
Maharaj, we hear a lot of the names of Manus now, of the past, present, and future. How do they practically, like, how can we use this information? Is it that any of these Manus, or even the current Manu and the seven sages, uh, do any of the people of Kali Yuga, will they be ever able to see them or meet them? How does it, how can we use that information in our practically? Like any of this information about the sages, manus, and so on. Like, is there something we can use to prove the point that yes, Bhagavatam is saying this? See, we can see this. Like if it had said something about somebody we can meet in this age, and yes, see, this is the way Bhagavatam has said, and we can at least prove the validity of what Bhagavatam is saying to common people who do not believe in scriptures.
You gave already a partial answer, but the Lord Krishna is teaching us many things at the same time. The scriptures have been looked at from different angles of vision. Srila Prabhupada wanted us to study the scriptures from different angles of vision. And we'll see later in this pastimes of Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj was a grandson of Prahlad, was a pure devotee, but somewhere or other still he had a desire to become Indra. He had a desire to become Indra and to conquer the heavenly planets. But of course, when he understood that Vamandev has this charity, he gave everything. But still he had a desire and we see though after his surrender, Lord Krishna, he gave him what he wanted. He gave him Sutal, which is more than a heavenly planet. And in his next life, he will become, next Manu, he will become Indra. So that means what we can learn from it. We are responsible for our desires. That we are responsible for our desires. And he explains in this chapter already, in the next Manvantar, in the next Manu, that Bali will become Indra. He must be responsible for his desires yet, and it will be fulfilled. So by that we understand also the futility of these material desires and how all these great sages, we hear these great sages where they are in the present Manu, they are Kshatriyas or are this or that, and they become then great sages in the next Manu or the Manu after, that it's all useless rotation in this material world. And that's something we can learn from it. It's all temporary. All these Manus, they go, and then the next day of Brahma again, so many Manus. It's all useless in this material world. And we need to hear that. Therefore, all these descriptions are there. Also, we learn also other things. We learn the Supreme Lord sees the future, and he knows in the future who will come in the next Manus. And that is also interesting. We don't have any control about our future, but the Lord knows. He's omnipotent. This surrender of Bali Maharaj is also very interesting. Bali Maharaj, he will be surrendered and he will suffer. And the Narada Muni will say, he said, we heard in the seventh canto, that Narada Muni said to Yudhishthira Maharaj, that, Lord, Narada Muni said to Krishna, what are you doing with these Pandavas? They are suffering so much. Are you hypnotizing them? They are suffering so much, and their love only increases for you. And that's also interesting, that a pure devotee does not want liberation from birth, death, old and disease. He wants to serve Krishna. And you have these pure devotees, the Pandavas, Yudhishthira Maharaj, they go with the Lord universe to universe just to serve him. But because their mind is fixed on him, because their mind is fixed on him, they are in pure Krishna consciousness. And their experience is blissful. So that's something we have to learn. We may be thinking of going back to Godhead, but we should not desire going back to Godhead as such. We should desire to become pure devotees. And whatever Krishna puts me in is all right. He wants me to go back to Godhead, to Golok, or he wants me to serve in this world. That's really the mode of a pure devotee that we will learn from Bali Maharaj here. That, so in that sense, we have so many lessons. So every verse in the Bhagavatam, every chapter, we have to learn something. And I appreciate especially your question, your reflection. What does it mean for me? And it's important. But as we go deeper in the Bhagavatam, it will be revealed. It will be revealed according to our surrender. Because understanding the Bhagavatam is not an intellectual exercise. That it's not becoming a Sanskrit column. That it's not becoming a preacher who knows many verses. No, one must get the realizations from the Bhagavatam. And therefore we must have this appropriate attitude of surrender. Does that help to understand this?
Yes, Maharaj, thank you very much.
Okay, good. There are no further questions. I look forward to see you tomorrow. We go in chapter 15, it is. Yes, chapter 14 first, and then Bali Maharaj. That will be the important,
Can I ask a
most
question?
important part. Yes, who is speaking?
Anand Gaurasundar Das.
Yes, please.
Maharaj, in the chapter number 12 and text number 15, so Prabhupada writes in the purport that
Chapter 12.
first few lines.
There. Yeah. 12, 15.
So in the purport, Maharaj, Prabhupada writes that when the Supreme Personality Godhead assumed the form of beautiful women, Muni Murti, the demons were certainly captivated, but demigods present were not. And then he writes, those who are advanced in Krishna consciousness or even those on platform goodness are not bewildered. But we do find that demigods becoming bewildered or attracted to Mother Lakshmi when Lakshmi also appears in the Samudra Manthan Leela. So I couldn't understand that why did it happen that time they were attracted, but now they were not attracted.
Their attraction is subtle. It's subtle. Because there is this pastime that I may have the names wrong, but that it was in the heavenly planets. That was a demigod, I think, Mauvisa, and the demigods were engaged in glorifying the Supreme Lord. And at one side you had the female demigods, at the other side the male, and they were dancing. But Mount Visa became attracted by Ganga. And while she was dancing, her clothes were, by the wind, were waved away. And all the male demigods, they looked at the other side. But Madhudvisa, he could not take his sight from Ganga, who was naked at that time. And demigod decided, and Brahma decided, you do not belong. This is not a mentality of a demigod. He said to Madhudvisa, you have to take birth on the earth. And that's in the Mahabharata. It takes birth, and there, of course, he met Ganga. And he has 7 children from her, and 6 are murdered by Ganga because they were demigods. 7 sons. I forgot the names. But one is the Vasus, yeah, 7 Vasus, and they wanted to take a cow from a sage. Was it, I don't know, fascist or some sage, that a Kamadini cow. And the wife of Charles said that I would like to have that cow. Then we get everything what we wish. So the 7 sages, the 7 Vasus, they made a plan, and Jal was the leader. And they stole the Kamadenu. But then the sage became very angry. And he cursed them to take birth on the earth. And then when they were cursed, they went to the sage and asked, please counteract this curse. And the sage said, I cannot do that, but 6 of you will have a very short birth. And but the 7th, Jal, he is a culprit. And he will have a long life, that on the earth, a complete life. And all the other Vasus gave all their powers to Jal, and Jal took birth. He took birth as Bhishmadev, the 7th son of Gangua and Madhudvisa. Yeah, of course, Madhudvisa had another name. Santanu. Santanu, yeah. That's all in the Mahabharata. But by that you can understand the mentality of the demigods. There is no gross sense gratification. That if they have gross sense gratification, they cannot stay there, and therefore Brahma said to Madhudvisa, you have to come down. And we will see also for that same reasons, Bali conquers the heavenly planets, but he cannot stay there. Demons cannot stay there. They don't have the security. Does that help?
Yes, Maharaj. Very clear.
Okay, good. Mother Ananga Moini, please speak.
So we can understand how someone, including practicing devotees, can have simultaneously divine qualities and demoniac qualities and mentalities. But how can we understand, like an outright demon who appears to be an outright demon? How can he also be a devotee at the same time?
Yes, that's not possible. But Bauli Maharaj was externally a demon, but internally he was a devotee. He was a pure devotee. He was a son of Prahlad Maharaj. And we heard that in his conversation that we heard with Indra, that he says to Indra, you should not be jubilant when victory is there, or morose when defeat is there. Before you were defeated and you were morose, and now you are jubilant. Now you have to be studying your service. So he has realized the realization of a pure devotee. That and somewhere or another, Krishna wanted him to be the leader of the demons. So a devotee, he accepts all service Krishna gives it, but does it in a mood to please Krishna. But, yes, good point. Thank you very much. Is that okay?
Yes, thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, then we will meet tomorrow, same time. Thank you. Jai Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.